Football is the game. It is Friday afternoon, just after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the East Coast of the United States of America, from our lovely studios in Chicks Beach, Virginia, USA. This is the Friday Soccer Paycheck. I am Stephen Murray. This is America's first and only wagering show on the English Premier League and the English Championship. I say it every week. If you know of another one, let me know. I don't know of another one that covers these sports. I look for them. I can't find them. So it's up to you to prove me wrong. Until otherwise, we are the cream of the crop in this regard. All right, here's what we do on this show. We're going to look at all the English Premier games. We'll take a look at the standings. We'll identify who scores a lot, who doesn't score a lot, and we'll do that for the championship as well, which is the league one below the English Premier League, as we have a full slate of games this weekend, and we are back to the scattered lineup of games. We have a handful on Saturday, another handful on Sunday, and then actually the Premier League will be on in full force on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week as well. So we have a good run. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and look at the menu for the weekend and maybe just kind of look at a few other spotty games. It's really hard to handicap a game ahead in soccer. I mean, there's so many injuries involved. Of course, you have the international play as well, which these teams were in full swing this week with hard games too, for the most part. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of lineups we get thrown out there. Always weather an issue this time of the year. Here on the first day of December on this Friday, here in the United States, we are nearing the second. If you're listening over in Europe right now, we are listening to, or we are approaching the second day of December coming up over there. Okay, and it looks like we have clear skies on Saturday, but cold temperatures, 39 degrees, so a little bit chilly. And then Sunday looks like a slosh fest. All right, so we're going to be very, very picky how we do things here this weekend. Last weekend, in which we were not on the air, we had a ton of unders or overs in the Premier League. In the championship as well, there's been a lot of goals scored here in the championship. They had midweek games, a bunch of the super overs. Ooh, I need a water. Hard workout right before the show here. We had a lot of goals midweek here in the championship as well. So a lot of catching up to do with everything involved here. So let's get right to it. We'll get to the table first in the Premier League. Let's see where everyone sits. And lo and behold, Arsenal sits on top of the standings after the Man City draw last week. Arsenal gets a nice win. That propels them back to the top, as it has been seesaw up there. Tottenham has been up there. Man City leaped over them, and now Arsenal leaps over Man City, as we have quite the race here at the top of the table. Arsenal 2 wins in a row with 30 points. Man City 2 draws their last 2 times out. So that would be considered down for them, right? If they're drawing out. And a tough game this week. They won in Champions League, but they were down. They had to really exert themselves to come back and get that victory over RB Leipzig, I believe is the team that they gave up 2 goals to initially and had to come back from. So Man City, second place, 29 points. A pair of teams in third place, Aston Villa and Liverpool. Liverpool right now with a slight 4-goal plus-minus point differential, so they'll get the third spot. Aston Villa, red hot, 4 out of 5 wins for them. Liverpool is not lost. They're drawing or winning, so they're going to keep accumulating points there. Tottenham, after the injuries, they've hit the downward spiral here. 3 losses in a row for Tottenham. Man United, they're hot. 24 points for them in 6th spot. 4 out of 5 wins for Man United. So they've turned the table after their manager has been Ten Hag, after he's been crucified by the fan base over there for Man United. So they've turned it around a little bit. Newcastle trying to get healthier. They've now won 2 out of 3. They've been banged up pretty bad here. We'll check the injury reports. They get a draw in their Champions League hard-fought game earlier in the week as well. Brighton, they finally get off the rope here. 3 draws in their last 4 games, and their last game a win. So they haven't lost. They just haven't been super spectacular, and they finally get a nice win, 3-2 over Nottingham last week. West Ham, they've won 2 in a row after they've hit the skid. So they sit in 9th spot, 20 points for them, 16 points for Chelsea. So Chelsea is the last team in the top 10. Inconsistent are Chelsea, a win, 2 losses, and 2 draws in their last 5 out. Brentford has lost 2 in a row. Now we're getting ready to see a lot of red here. So Brentford has lost 2 in a row. So they're down a little bit, 16 points for them. The Wolves have a couple of wins in their last 5, but 15 points for them. They lost to Fulham on Monday in a nice, fun game, 3-2. Last second penalties seem to be a little bit of a theme there for the Wolves. 12th spot for them. Sitting relatively safe, though, at 15 points, as are Crystal Palace and Fulham. Now, Crystal Palace they have lost 4 out of 5, not well at all. Fulham has won just 1 out of their last 5. Nottingham has lost 3 of their last 4. They sit at 15th. Bournemouth is a little hot here. They're probably the best team at the bottom here. They have 12 points, which is 7 points still above the safe line. 5 points is going to be your relegation zone. Relegation meaning that you're going to get kicked out of the league and you'll have to go play in the championship, which is the other league we discuss after the EPL. Top 3 teams from the championship to get promoted to the EPL. We'll talk more about that when we get there. But Bournemouth, 2 wins in a row for them. Luton Town, they've won their last time out. Couple losses, couple draws, but they've kind of climbed out, trying to get just a hair of separation from the relegation pack. 9 points for them. The relegation pack is this. Let's see here. Sheffield, Everton, and Burnley. So those are your worst teams right now. Everton, that must be getting contradicting numbers here on Liverpool or Everton. The same, they won 2 out of their last 5, but they only have 4 points, which that doesn't make sense. You get 3 points for a win. They have the point deduction. That's what it is. Yes, Everton has had 10 points taken off, so they are in the relegation zone. If you want to get more into that, I need to familiarize myself with that. It's all about money and the management of the money and how the club operates. But the Premier League has docked Everton 10 points. Now, that happened about 10 days ago or so, so easy to fall out of my memory without doing a show last week. But yes, that is big news. Everton falls into the relegation zone by losing 10 points through technical EPL money issues. Burnley is your last place team with 4 points. They've now lost 5 in a row. All right, let's get to it. Injury-wise, let me get that table ready to go. Let's see. Bournemouth is going to have 7 injuries. No one's super notable to talk about. Arsenal, most of their main guys are back here. Let's see here. We'll get more into this in a minute. Ollie Watkins, we'd like to see him back for Aston Villa. Okay, we'll get to the injuries as we go through the games here. And we'll start no early games. So all these games are Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have 1, 2, 3 games. So just 3 games to start the day. And honestly, with weather conditions deteriorating, these Saturday games, I think, are going to be the best spot. These other games might get bogged down here in the wetness of Sunday soccer, which we do have some decent matchups. You think you might be able to get a few goals here. And you know what? You got to keep in mind you have these immaculate fields in the Premier League too. So even a lot of rain at times, you still can get away with a lot of things. Not so much in the championship, but maybe an under day overall on Sunday. All right. Let's see here. First game Saturday is Arsenal and the Wolves. -400 for Arsenal. The Wolves are plus 1,100. The Wolves have been a feisty team. They played well. The draw plus 500. Losing their last time out 3-2. We talked about Arsenal injuries. Let's take a look at the Wolverhampton injuries. I'd like to see Pedro Neto back, but he's only 25% to go. So that's definitely kind of takes the sting out of their attack a little bit. With half a dozen players hurt here for Wolverhampton. Let's see. Numbers on this game. I mean, can the Wolves get a goal? Maybe. Yeah, I think they probably can get one. I don't know if they can get two. Arsenal probably gets 3 or 4. They scored 6 goals, and they're the one team with a breezy championship game. They're on hitting on all cylinders right now as well. So I think an over is fair here, like over 4.5 goals. It's plus 420. I think if Wolverhampton can get you one, then Arsenal will get you another one. Everyone scored for Arsenal their last time out. Kai Havertz has been hot. Gabriel Jesus has been getting goals as well. Odegaard scored his last time out. Saka and Martinelli both scored their last time out. It is full go here for Arsenal. I expect them to get a lot of goals here on Saturday at 10. So we'll lean with Arsenal for sure on their home team goals. And I think for the game as well. Over 3.5 goals for the home team is plus 360. Over 2.5 for Arsenal is plus 130. I would say that's your best bet for something easy and smooth. I think Arsenal can definitely get the 3. Do you want to take Arsenal on the spread line -2.5? I think you probably can here. You're only getting plus 230 on that. So I think I would rather just stick with the goals, knowing that Wolverhampton can still get 1 and even maybe possibly 2. But no upset here. Wolverhampton, as competitive as they are, they just don't have the firepower that Arsenal has. So I think it's all go for Arsenal. -400. If you want to do a parlay with a few things, you can probably throw that in there just for the fun of it for sure. Okay, next game at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, let's look at a couple of goal scorers there too. Although I don't think you're getting the greatest numbers, but Martinelli, who had a goal in the Champions League, I swear he's due here in the EPL. Plus 185 for Gabriel Martinelli. And for 2 goals for him. Martinelli is paying 10-1 on Saturday, which I think is fine. And the other one I would look at, and there's just so many mouths to feed. I feel like Odegaard's more of a passer at this point, setting guys up, but he does take his shots. He'd be good for 1. So Martinelli for 10-1 and parlay that to Odegaard might be a decent way to do things. Let's see. So let me plug in the numbers real quick. Odegaard at 2-1 for 1 goal. Martinelli at 10-1 for 2 goals. That parlay of $10 will pay out $347. All right, so nice price there. If you want to put a correct score on this game, I would do something like 4-1. I think 4-1's fair. That pays 18-1 here on this game. So plenty to do on the Arsenal side of things if you want. Burnley and Sheffield, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Burnley, a favorite, -125. Sheffield is plus 360. Burnley is the home team. The draw is at plus 260 overall. Let's see. Injury-wise, Burnley only has 3 injuries, where Sheffield has half a dozen. So both of these teams relatively okay. You'd like to see Chris Basham get back into the mix for Sheffield at some point. He's a nice player for him. But here we are. I mean, these are the bottom dwellers of the league. Let's see here. Did I get off? Let me get back to the standings here. Here we go. And again, Burnley and Sheffield both are in relegation. They've only have 1 win, which belongs to Sheffield, and a draw, which belongs to Sheffield. You know what? I mean, honestly, I think you can make a case for the dog in Sheffield here at plus 360. They're the team who's in better form as far as having a win or a draw. You just figure Burnley has to be kind of due, but maybe not. They are supposed to be not this bad. Luton Town and Sheffield are supposed to be the 2 worst, and it may be Burnley. Minus 125, I can't take Burnley. This would be Sheffield at plus 360 or nothing. The draw even, I think, is fair at plus 260. I mean, you're bound to see this as a 1-1 game for sure. I don't think it gets out of hand scoring-wise. Better plays on the board than this. So we'll just take a general pass overall. But if you're going to be priced in, you might as well take the 360 on a team who actually has a win and a draw in their last 3. Brentford is minus 230 at home against Luton Town. Wow, they've really set us up for failure on this Saturday slate. Let me tell you, the good game's not until later, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with that game being Newcastle and Man United. But Brentford and Luton Town, Brentford minus 230, plus 600 for them, plus 350 is the draw. All right, so injury-wise, Brentford has a ton of injuries. Rico Henry still out, still waiting for Ivan Toney to get back from suspension. Matthias Jensen. So Brentford is struggling as well. Luton Town just seems to be a little bit of the hot team here. If you can say a bad team can be hot. They do have 7 injuries on their side. Dan Potts, the most notable. Let's see here. Again, this is just kind of a weird game. Brentford's not a team I want to be heavily invested in. I mean, this just reeks of a 1-0 Brentford win, something like that. I don't think we can get out of hand with goals or anything. So that being said, I guess this is just a general pass. This might be an ugly slate here in the EPL this week. Arsenal, the one thing that we do like, it might be a cheap week if you think of it in that regard. 1-0, no. Brentford pays plus 650. 2-0 pays plus 650. I think I would just take the 1-0. But I would say under is probably your best play in here as well, as I think all our overs are bound to come to some kind of regression here, especially on Saturday with Burnley and Sheffield. One angle you could take, to be honest, let's go ahead and plug this in. So I'll do Wolverhampton to not get a goal. So away team under half a goal, which is a favorite at minus 125. Burnley and Sheffield over under 2.5 goals. We'll go under is minus 127. Brentford and Luton Town will go under in that game as well. That is plus 111. So we're actually getting a plus money price there. Now, Luton Town does have some wide. They do allow for some goals here. I mean, let's, take a look at that here. Well, they only allowed 23. Sheffield and Burnley allow the most at 34 and 32, but they don't score any, 10 and 11. Maybe that Sheffield-Burnley game could be a sneaky one. Well, we got to give him credit for a goal anyway. 1-1. I just don't think we get over on these games. That's all. Let's see. Teams who give up a lot of goals. Again, Bournemouth has given up 28. Wolves have given up 23, West Ham 23, Brighton 23. They've settled down a little bit. Where Arsenal has only given up 10. Liverpool has only given up 11. 13 for Man City. Teams who've scored a lot. Aston Villa has 31 goals. Man City 33. Arsenal 27. Liverpool 28. Brighton 28 goals for them. The teams who haven't scored. Burnley 10. Everton 14. Sheffield 11. Luton 12. Bournemouth 14. Crystal Palace and Fulham 13 and 13 each. Brentford is right middle of the pack of both. 19 and 18 scored and scored against for them. All right, so better idea of all of that. Anyway, so Luton, it's not like they are. I like that 1-0. We'll have to stick with the 1-0, and we'll call this an under game as well. Nottingham Forest and Everton. Nottingham Forest is plus 180. Everton is plus 160. The draw is the plus 220. Nottingham is the home team. These, again, Everton in the relegation zone via the 10-point deduction. Nottingham Forest in 15th place. They've only scored 16. They've allowed 21. Everton has only scored 14. They've only allowed 20. 2 wins for Everton in their last 5. Nottingham has the 1 lone win in their last 5. Injury-wise, Nottingham is pretty healthy. Just 3 injuries to report. And Everton pretty healthy as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks like he'll be back in form here. You know what? I would just have to say this is an Everton 1-0 win again. And again, well, I think just an underplay here. I think we can look at an under. It is cold weather, no rain, but it is cold. So you got to just keep all this into account. Arsenal, the one team who can probably get off here. And we'll have to take all the unders in all these other games. So when it's under, I mean, we don't have goal props for you. We don't have home team goals or anything like that. But plus 160 for Everton sounds like a fair play as well. I think I would take that. That's the 1+ number we're getting here. Maybe Everton plus 160, a draw, and Burnley and Sheffield plus 260. That would be the decentest parlay I could think of at the moment at plus money. So really not a lot to work with here in the Premier League this week, which is good. We don't want to be able to find everything every week and say, you know, this is going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. All right, Newcastle and Man United is the 3 p.m. Eastern game. So best game of the day, Newcastle minus 110, plus 270 on the draw, and Man United plus 290. I have a feeling this is going to be a slugfest here. Again, I would lean it as an under on these guys. Again, a full slate of unders except for this Arsenal game. Let's see, where are we at with these two? Man United is 6, 4 out of 5 wins for them. They've just scored 16 and just allowed 16. So they're the under team by nature. Newcastle, who was in 7th right behind them, they have scored 31 and only have allowed 14. So you got to think the Man United defense will rise up a little bit. 3 wins out of the last 5 for Newcastle. Maybe to slow Newcastle down. This is at Newcastle, so I think you got to favor them to win this game at minus 110. This could be 2-1. I could see that. So I'd be completely reluctant to take under 2.5 goals. I think we could definitely do under 3.5. Just to play it safe. That's minus 235. If we do that parlay of goals here, so under half a goal for the Wolves, all those other games under 2.5 for Burnley, Brentford, and Nottingham Forest, and then under 3.5 for Newcastle. That pays 16-1 odds. All right, so that's not the worst bet in the world going into tomorrow. I would lean Newcastle here. I think 2-1's a fair game. 2-1, it pays plus 750. And just that minus 110, I think you can take Newcastle. Hey, hard pressed to find any alternate spreads here on any of these games here. That's the Saturday slate. So let's see if we can find anything better on Sunday. And I don't think we will. I mean, weather is going to be the big question here. If it's going to be that much rain, you got to think that's going to slow things down. With this game, should have some goals, you would think, still. Bournemouth and Aston Villa. Bournemouth plus 240, Aston Villa plus 100, the draw plus 290. Pay attention to really what's doing on the field. If it looks like they are free and clear of weather, then take over 4.5 at plus 300. So I think Bournemouth can get a couple of goals here. I think Aston Villa can get their share as well. I'm not so sure this is a blowout, although it could be. Villa minus 2.5 is plus 730. Minus 1.5, which is more fair, is plus 270. But Bournemouth kind of playing a little frisky lately. They've had a couple nice wins. Aston Villa they've been fantastic. You can't say enough about the coach. It was this time last year we said, look out for Aston Villa. They are getting ready to go on a tear that we think. And we rode them, and they haven't gotten off that tear yet. So I think this is one where you play them. As far as stinky teams, Bournemouth is one I like to play myself. If Ollie Watkins is back, he's probably going to get a goal plus 135. So I would make sure he's healthy. And he would even maybe get 2 from me. So Ollie Watkins to get 2 goals this week is at plus 650. But again, we need to look at the weather here, because if it's going to be a drenching downpour on the south coast of England, then this might be more like a 1-0 Aston Villa type of win. All right, if they're really bogged down like that. All right, 9 o'clock, Chelsea, 9 o'clock Eastern Sunday, Chelsea and Brighton. Chelsea is your favorite at minus 140, draw plus 320. Brighton is at plus 340. Chelsea did not have soccer middle of the week, so that's going to favor them a little bit as far as being more in tune to things. But Chelsea just hasn't been good. Even when we think that they're getting ready to turn the corner, they can start heading a decent way, they come up and kind of give you a bad loss. I wouldn't be shocked to see Brighton win this game at plus 340, to be honest. I think this is probably a cagey match. Brighton, where they give up a lot of goals, and Chelsea is a team dying for goals in a way. Let's see, Chelsea, they do have 22. They've given up 20. Brighton is now they've settled down, giving up just 23 and scoring 28. You want to make a case for the over here, but man, if this is a wet game, then this definitely could be an under. I mean, this could be more of a both of these teams are going to play hard and give a good effort here. And Brighton is probably the more exhausted team. Yeah, 320 at the draw is not the worst number, to be honest. I can see this being a 1-1 game, even 2-2. So I'd maybe lean draw here with Chelsea and Brighton. I think Brighton might be happy just to get a point, considering they're coming off the Champions League. Or Europa League is what they were in on Thursday. So maybe a draw here, maybe Brighton. Now, can Brighton put the hammer down on Chelsea? Maybe. If you're really diehard Brighton, you're going to get a nice payout if you do. You're going to get plus 920 for Brighton to win by 2 goals, which that might be an angle I take a look at. Again, rain is all the big thing. If you see it pouring down, windy, then, I mean, you can't lay a goal and a half. You just need to go with all the unders straight on the board. But maybe a small lean on Brighton minus 1.5 plus 920 on that. And Evan Ferguson at plus 280 would be the goal scorer for me for Brighton for sure. So that's a good number for him. You're not going to get Ferguson at plus 280 too many times for sure. Now, I think he might be a little dinged up as well. Let's look at the injury report. Brighton and Chelsea. Ferguson's off the injury report. Solomon March is out. We like him. Danny Wallback. Brighton is a very banged up team. So that's going to work against them here and everything that we just said, of course. But so is Chelsea. They have a ton of injuries as well. So I think a draw is a fair play. And you know what? If we're going to have that many injuries, then I would definitely lean towards the under, especially in a rainy day scenario. So Brighton 1-0, maybe 2-0, 2-1 at most here with them. Let's see, 1-0 for Brighton is 19-1, which I could see that for sure. I wish we had halftime correct scores. Do we? Halftime correct score. Yeah, we do. Halftime correct score. 1-0 for Brighton at halftime is 6-1. Interesting. Might have to take a look at that, actually, to be honest. Okay, 9:00, Liverpool and Fulham. Liverpool, they've scored a ton of goals. They were able to rest a lot of guys in their Europa League game on Thursday. Fulham played a game on Monday, hard game for them against Wolverhampton. This should be an onslaught of goals for Liverpool. Again, depending on the weather, but I think Liverpool can score 3 anyway. Let's see. Are we going to get paid anything for Liverpool to get 3 goals at home? I just don't think we are. Home team over 2.5 is -111. And I would just say do a parlay with this and Arsenal. But again, the weather just kind of scares me. Fulham is a under team, again, by nature. They are bound not to have a goal themselves. It just depends how many Liverpool can get. And Liverpool have had times of not being significant goal scorers. Fulham with 4 injuries. Liverpool will list 5 guys on their injury report. Andrew Robertson is on there. Diego Jota is on there as well. All these players ruled out. But enough firepower for Liverpool to handle Nottingham. I just think this is like a 2-0 game. I would give it to Liverpool 2-0 at plus 650. This definitely could be your correct score week for sure. So play your correct score round robin parlays for sure. If you don't know what the round robin is, it is, whatever it is, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks, whatever you want. But it's all those picks and all the different combinations of parlays. You'll have one 6-game parlay. I think in as far as 5-game parlays go, I think there's 6 different combinations in 5-game parlays and a round robin. So if you hit 5 of the 6 plays, you'll be good. 4 of the 6, you definitely have a bunch of options. So if you hit 4 of the 6, you'll be a winner. Same with 3 of the 6, etc. They get costly. So I recommend doing a 4 or 5 team rather than a 6, to be honest. And with a short slate, you could definitely figure something out this week anyway. Brighton, Arsenal goals. I think all that's fair game. A couple of these draws, to be honest. The Brighton draw, I think I like plus 320. I think I like better than Brighton to win outright at 340. I think Liverpool just wins 2-0 here. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Fulham, bad game for them. I think you can take a lot of these teams for under goals, team goals, under 1. Really, these straight under games that we have. In fact, we should carry on this under play that we got at 16-1 with the unders on Sunday, right? So let's do that. Chelsea Brighton, we'll just say, is an under game. Let's see how crazy we can get here on a parlay. Plus 147 on that number, especially if we get the rain. It's hard to see rain a day ahead of time, though, So it just kind of sketches you out to try to do something like this. So Brighton and Chelsea we'll throw on there. We'll leave off Bournemouth and Aston Villa on the under play, and we'll throw in this Liverpool Fulham under. How about that? I think we can go under 3.5 here in case Liverpool really gets a hold of themselves. That's minus 130. So that's fair. That's giving Liverpool 3 goals and Fulham nothing, which is probably what it's going to be close to what happens at minus 130. So right now, if we add on to that Saturday ticket of Wolves under one team goal or under a half team goal. So if they score once, you lose. Under 2.5, Burnley, Sheffield. Under 2.5, Brentford, Luton. Under 2.5, Nottingham, Everton. Under 3.5, Newcastle, Man United. Under 2.5, Chelsea, Brighton. Under 3.5, Liverpool and Fulham. Now, this 7-game parlay is paying 71 to 1. So $20 wins you $1,420. If you just hope the rain, some bad team matchups, a weekend, in fact, we're so due for the unders. If you can just kind of scramble some of these home, you'll be in a good shape. You have 21 different combinations of 5-game parlays, averaging out at 20 to 1 a payout. So you can actually just put $1 down on that if you wanted to. If you hit 5 of the 7 unders, you're going to get $434 back on that. So fair. I think that's fair. All right, this is an under game. West Ham and Crystal Palace, Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. West Ham plus 105. Crystal Palace is plus 270. Crystal Palace has been a dead under team for the season. West Ham played a 1-1, whatever. I think they won 1-0 in their Europa League game. West Ham trending the right direction, but they've only scored 23 and have allowed 23. Crystal Palace will make this a hard game for anyone, just the way that they play defense. They just don't let you score. They've only scored 13. They've only allowed 18. Losers of 4 out of the 5. As far as injuries go here, Crystal Palace has 5 injuries to list. Eze, who came back from injury, is back out again. So Eberechi Eze, a key player for them for Crystal Palace. That was most of their scoring early on. As far as West Ham goes, they have just 3 injuries. They've been one of the healthier teams throughout the campaign this season. But again, this just smells like an under to me. And we'll go ahead and throw it in just for the fun of it. Let's just see how high we can get this parlay number on all these unders. We'll take them at under 132, at minus 132, under 2.5 goals. And right now, we have 8 unders, in which a $20 bet pays $2,500. All you need is for it to be Operation Shutdown on this 8-game under parlay. What could go wrong taking 8 unders in the EPL, and it's been a season of overs, let's just be honest. But Crystal Palace, West Ham looks like a game to me. That looks like one of my favorite unders of the week, to be honest. If you had to take a favorite of the unders, I would put West Ham and Crystal Palace in there. I would put nothing else on Sunday. Let's see here. I mean, I think Burnley and Sheffield you got to put in there. Well, they give up a lot of goals. That would be scary. I think you put Brentford and Luton in there. And I think you can throw Nottingham and Everton in there for sure. So there's 4. You can just stick with those 4 if you want. But West Ham, Crystal Palace, an under game. Man City is at home against Tottenham. Tottenham has a ton of injuries. We'll go through those real quick. But they're plus 900 in this game. Man City, they just have not been impressive. It'd be nice to get De Bruyne back. Maybe they can kind of hit their stride when he gets back. James Maddison is out. He's the big injury. Pape Sarr is 25% that he'll be able to play. Rich Arlison, he's likely not to play as well. Let's see. Perisic, Bittencourt, they miss a lot of these guys. Solomon is a good player. He won't play. Christian Romero, he's out. So just too many injuries. This could be a bloodbath for Man City, but they haven't had bloodbaths. That's the thing. Man City minus 2.5 goals is just 2 to 1 odds. I mean, if you want an anytime goal scorer, Holland is minus 185. This could be a wet, rainy game, but Man City's the home team. They have the best pitch in the world. You just got to figure that Man City's going to be too much for Tottenham. This would be a good one. The Man City team goals and the Arsenal team goals. I think you could probably just say without a doubt that these two teams are going to score a lot. In fact, can we get? Yeah, I'll get this under parlay off of here with all these unders. Just you take a bunch of unders. I bet you'll win a bunch. Let's just say that, except for Arsenal and Man City. And I think Man City would really like to hammer Tottenham at home as well. So Man City over 4.5 goals is at plus 630. That is a stretch for Man City against a good Tottenham team. But this could be, Tottenham has beaten them. So this could be like revenge, best served cold type of dealio. A little bit of payback here in the last couple of years for Tottenham playing Man City tough. Tottenham just has way too many injuries. They are really, really ripe for the picking. We'll take home team plus 360 for Arsenal, and we'll take home team Man City over 4.5 goals plus 630. That pays 32-1. So nice price there. $50 altogether will win you $1,629. If we look at the first halves as well, because Man City, well, they're a better second half team, but you think they're going to get out to a hot start, and if they do, they could pull the plug on you. Both of these teams could. So Man City to get Arsenal is 10-1 to get the 3 goals in the first half. I think that's fair before they get tired against Wolverhampton. So take a shot on that. And if we look at Man City over 2.5 goals in the first half against Tottenham, I like this play actually more than our underplays here, to be honest. Home team first half for Man City is plus 770. All right, so 94, almost 95-1 odds for both of these teams to get up 3 goals at halftime. Man City and Arsenal. Very feasible. $50 pays $4,735. In fact, that might just be my one bet and just screw the rest of everything, to be honest. That would be a good way to keep it light for the weekend. And a good chance for a good payout just for 2 things to happen. $65 gets you just over $6,000. All right, so I like that. Home team over 2.5 goals, first half, Arsenal and Man City. Big payouts for both of those guys. All right. Is that all for this weekend? EPL? Yeah, it is. EPL, good games to note on Tuesday and Wednesday. Do we have good games? Wolves and Burnley. No. Luton, Arsenal. Arsenal could be a bloodbath again. Brighton, Brentford, Sheffield, Liverpool. Liverpool could make it a bloodbath. Again, lots of rain projected for Sunday. So pay attention to Tuesday, Wednesday, which Tuesday looks like a rainy day again. Wednesday, less rainy, but clear. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth. Bournemouth might win that game. Plus 270 there. Fulham, Nottingham looks like an under game. Man United, Chelsea. Interesting game there, but probably low scoring as well. Aston Villa and Man City will be a fun game Wednesday. That will be a fun game to get a hold of. Everton and Newcastle Thursday. Tottenham, West Ham on Thursday. So the big game during the week is Aston Villa and Man City. All right, so our 2 best bets in the EPL this week are Arsenal and Man City, both to have 2.5 goals over in the first half, and that it pays 94-1 odds. All right, just simple blowouts. Tottenham right for the picking, kind of a revenge spot, and the Wolves will just not be able to handle Arsenal's fury. We'll just put it that way. Other best bets, just scatter the unders. The one under over I like are Arsenal and the Wolves. Man City and Tottenham, just on Man City's part, really. Everything else, I think you can make a case for an under or a draw. Maybe a slight edge on Brighton at plus 340 because they know how to win, where Chelsea doesn't. And I would say a slight edge on maybe Newcastle at home at minus 110 if you need a straight bet there. But I think all these games are close, and play with your correct scores on some low scoring numbers as well. All right, let's get to the championship. As we go commercial free here on the Friday Soccer Paycheck, 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the championship, we do have a game going on. It is late in the contest. QPR 2, Preston 0. So Preston has been a team somewhere towards the top, and 2 losses out of their last 3, and 3 of their last 5, I should say, and another one to come here against bottom feeder QPR, which is a big win for them because now they find themselves out of the regulation zone for the minute. Okay, Leicester and Ipswich are your 2 top teams, 43 and 42 points, and the gap has narrowed as Leicester has struggled a hair here in their last few games, losing 2 out of 3. Leicester just hasn't blown teams out, scoring 32 goals. They've only allowed 11, so they're defensive-minded. All their games have been under games. They have not been a dominant top team who waxes other teams. They just haven't done that. Ipswich has 39 goals for them, 24 against. So they are probably your best over team, by far here in the championship are Ipswich. Spots 3rd through 6. These teams would play in a 4-team playoff to see who would be the official top 3rd team to be promoted into the EPL at season's end. Everyone has played 18 games. So we have played about 40% of the season schedule, maybe a hair less than that. But Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, and Hull City are your 3 through 6. Leeds 35, 34 for Southampton, 32 for West Brom, 30 for Hull. All these teams in excellent form right now. And after that, it gets dicey. Let's see. Teams 7. Let's just go 7 through. Well, let's do all the teams in the 20s. How about that? 7 through 19. These teams are separated by just 8 points. In this order, from 28 points down to 20. Blackburn, Preston, Cardiff, City, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Bristol, Watford, Norwich, Coventry, Birmingham, City, Stoke, Swansea City, Millwall, and that's it. 19 points each for Plymouth and Huddersfield. And then your bottom 3 teams with 16 points. So 3 points back of the safe zone, which they will find themselves in the safe zone via their win right now in progress, are Queen's Park Rangers. Rotherham has 12 points. They're a bad team. Sheffield Wednesday, just 7 points. Sheffield Wednesday has only scored 9 goals on the season. They're the only team in single digits for goals scored in the championship and the EPL for that matter. And also, let's see, Rotherham has given up a ton of goals, 37, but they've scored 17. So they're somewhat of an over team every time Rotherham gets out there. Huddersfield's kind of an over team. They have 47 goals in their 18 games, giving up 30, scoring 17. Plymouth would be an over team, 29 scored, 28 against for them. And then it just kind of gets all in the middle of the pack here. Sunderland is an over team, 28 scored, 21 against. Norwich is an over team, 32 goals scored, 35 against. We had a lot of overs here lately in the championship. A lot better than last year's goal total, I'll say that. Scoring a lot more at this point. I'd have to go back and look at the table at this point last year. But I'd be safe to say we have a bunch more goals scored than we do at this point last year. Another over team would be, well, no one's like Ipswich. They're by far and away the most. Nothing else sticks out. Blackburn, maybe. They're kind of an over team right now as well. Hull City is as well. All right, let's get to the games. And we'll breeze right through this as usual. West Brom and Leicester, two top teams. West Brom, as far as their goals scored, 29 for, 17 against. So that's 46. And their 18 games played. That's right about 2.5 goals a game. So they're not a super over team or whatever. You got to figure this will be a tight game. I would just lean under here. This is your first game of the day. Yeah, start it off with an under. Don't expect fireworks in West Brom and Leicester. Plymouth and Stoke, we'll have a no play there. Although Plymouth at plus 165 looks like a fair number, maybe. I mean, they're right. Both of these teams are kind of close in the standings. Stoke hasn't been that good. I just think Plymouth can score more than Stoke can for sure. So I would lean Plymouth there, just on a straight number. Birmingham and Rotherham. Birmingham. This could be an over game. 50 goals in Birmingham's games. 54 in Rotherham. So we'll lean over in that one with Birmingham and Rotherham. Over in that one is over 4.5 is plus 570. So that's the best play on that one. Actually, let me pull this ticket up. That way I can remember this as we go. That's the best play I've seen so far, I think. And I don't love it to death. Millwall and Sunderland. This is at Millwall. This could be an over game where 45. Millwall is kind of, I feel like they pull things down in the mud a little bit. Slight lean on Sunderland here, but we'll lay off. Blackburn, they have scored a bunch of goals, correct here? Yes, they've scored 31 goals, which is kind of the most, or up there. Sheffield has only scored 9. So big discrepancy in this game. We need Sheffield with a draw of Leicester, too, their last time out. So I would look at goals for Blackburn, away team Blackburn, or on their spread line. So Blackburn minus 1.5 is plus 360. That's a good number. Minus 2.5 for Blackburn pays at plus 1040. I like that number even better. So that's one I'm going to have to throw in. Blackburn, hopefully they can just handle business on the road at Sheffield Wednesday. Hull and Watford, I think, is a pass for me. Watford kind of sneakily hanging in the standings there. 2 draws, 2 wins in their last 5. Hull does have 3 wins in their last 5, but just inconsistent are Hull. Watford does have some goals too. So if there's going to be some over chances, it's going to be in the championship. And you'd have to put this game on the list maybe as well. Watford did have a high-scoring game with Norwich their last time out, and they were flying around. Over 4.5 is plus 740. So that'll pay good enough to get us involved anyway. We'll take a look at that. Swansea and Huddersfield. 2 teams at the bottom part of the safe zone here. Swansea has been an over team for sure. Huddersfield, close. They have 47 goals. Swansea does have 51. I would lay with Swansea here, I think, against Huddersfield. Swansea at home, minus 1.5 is at plus 270. Minus 2.5 is at plus 800. So I think that's fair to get involved with. So we'll go ahead and add them to the ticket. Cardiff and Southampton. Southampton minus 170. Cardiff is at plus 440. Cardiff, 49 goals on the year. Southampton Southampton has had a lot of goals and they've been winning. Cardiff, not so much. I think I would have to lean on Southampton here. But this could be an over game. Cardiff has been an over team. So let's look at that. Over 4.5 is at plus 490. We'll go ahead and throw that on a ticket. Leeds and Middlesbrough. This you would think would be a high scoring game. Now, Middlesbrough has had to catch up to the goals now with 54 goals on the year. Leeds has 49. So this could be a fun, attractive game here. I don't want to throw this on an over. Man, we like all overs in the championship, all unders in the EPL. Plus 410 for that, over 4.5. Ipswich and Coventry. Ipswich has been an over team by far. Coventry is not really been an over team. They've been more of an under team and not in good form as well. Ipswich is on fire. Watched them play a little bit the other day. They are exciting. They do have dynamic goal scoring capabilities. So I was looking at home team goals with Ipswich. Home team over 2.5 set, only plus 230. So how about on a goal line? I think that's the safer one because I think Coventry can probably get you a goal or two. But we'll just rely on the home team here, and we'll take plus 230. This is a nice parlay. We're going to have to play this straight on these 7, I think. Just hope we get lucky. And Sunday, we have a game. That's all your 10 o'clock games Saturday. Bristol and Norwich. Bristol is the favorite, plus 120. Norwich is at plus 200. Let's see. Bristol, not an over team. Norwich has been. And who's the better form here? They're both kind of lagging a little bit here. I think just a no play overall for Sunday morning. If we have to lean any which direction, Norwich at 2-1 odds, I think would be the play. They went up 2-0 against Watford and had a bad loss. All right, so this 7-game parlay for $5. You can't even put $5 on it. How about that? $1 pays $1 pays $573,372. That is Ipswich over 2.5 goals. Leeds over 4.5 goals. Southampton and Cardiff over 4.5 goals. Swansea minus 2.5. Hull and Watford over 4.5 goals. Blackburn minus 2.5 goals. And over in Birmingham and Rotherham, 4.5 goals. One more time. Ipswich home team over 2.5. Leeds Middlesbrough over 4.5. Southampton Cardiff over 4.5. Swansea minus 2.5. Over 4.5. Hull Watford. Blackburn minus 2.5 over Sheffield Wednesday. And Birmingham over Rotherham. Birmingham and Rotherham over 4.5. Two best plays in the EPL. Arsenal and Man City both to get ahead at halftime and score 3 team goals each. A big payout. Let's see, 10-1 for Arsenal, plus 790 for Man City. I think one of them gets there, so you can play them both, and then parlay them both for a huge payout at 95-1 odds. And besides that, look for all the unders on Sunday and Saturday in the EPL, mainly overs here for our boys in the championship. All right, let's wrap things up. I am Stephen Murray. This is the Friday Soccer Paycheck, America's best and only gambling show on the EPL and the championship. We'll go ahead and cue up the Tottenham fans to get us out of here. We thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday. And listen to the Round Robin here on the Deep End Broadcasting Network. Sunday morning, live, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your full NFL breakdown slate for about 4 hours. All right, guys. Good luck in soccer. Hopefully we gave you some good things to go with. Get some tickets cashed. Enjoy the weekend.